Well, let's just get started. So again, hello, everybody. My name's Allison. I work at Tricycle, and we are here today with Martine Batchelor. Some of you joined us last week, but for those of you who didn't, I will introduce Martine. And just before we get started, a few notes. This meeting is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch afterwards. We love hearing your feedback, so you can always write us at feedback@tricycle.org. We'd love to hear your comments and suggestions about this Zoom meditation group. And again, at the end, we'll open up for questions. So we'll invite you to unmute, and you can either raise your hand and ask your question live, or you can enter a question in the chat and I will read it to Martine. Okay, so welcome, Martine. Martine Batchelor is our teacher for the month of November. Martine lived in Korea as a Seon nun under the guidance of Master Kusan for 10 years. She's the author of Meditation for Life, The Path of Compassion, Women in Korean Zen, and Let Go, A Buddhist Guide to Breaking Free of Habits. She teaches meditation retreats and lives in France. Recently, she co-authored What Is This? Ancient Questions for Modern Minds. She has also taught multiple Tricycle courses in partnership with Bodhi College. So we're going to offer a 30% discount off all Martine's courses this month for anyone who's participating in our meditation group. I'll drop that code into the chat momentarily. And you can browse her course and all of Tricycle's other courses at learn.tricycle.org. And if you use the code MEDITATE at checkout, you can redeem the discount. I will drop all of this in the chat. Okay, so I think that's enough housekeeping from me. I'm going to turn it over to Martine. And again, thank you all for joining us. It's great to see everybody here. Welcome, Martine.
So it's a really great pleasure to be with you all this evening. And so really welcome, a warm welcome to everybody all over the world who is with us tonight. And I think different people might be feeling different things at this point in time. But what is also interesting is that we are here and now. What do we feel here and now? What did we feel an hour ago reading this or reading that, or walking in nature, or talking to a friend? So tonight, what I like to do is introduce you, and some of you might be very familiar with this topic, which is mindfulness of feeling tone. So the technical term is Vedana, V-E-D-A-N-A. And Vedana actually means feeling tone. And so it's actually when we are in contact through the senses, then you have a certain tonality. You see something, I like it. You have a pleasant tonality. You hear something, you hear the sound of a bird, I like it. And then you kind of feel a pleasant tonality, or suddenly somebody is digging a hole with an electric engine next to you, and it's very noisy, and it might be unpleasant. So tonight, I don't have much time because I want to talk for about 15 minutes, and we have 20 minutes meditation, then we have 40-minute discussion. So, but just to let you know that there is a text where the Buddha in ancient time talked about 108 Vedana, 108 feeling tone. But tonight, I just want to talk about the contact with the 6 senses, and the 3 pleasant, unpleasant, neither. And so throughout the day, we can feel so many different things. You know, at any given time, you see something pleasant, you hear something unpleasant, and the rest might be neither. And so in a way, the mindfulness of the feeling tone is so that we are more aware of the tonality as it goes through the day. Because the difficulty with tonality is that it's not emotion, it's not feeling like anger or sadness, but it's just what we feel. It's very basic. It's kind of like tonality is actually survival mechanism. How do we survive from ancient time, from prehistory to now? Is knowing what is good for us, what is bad for us, and what is okay for us. And so in a way, that's what has helped us in a way to survive during all this time. But the Buddha talks a lot about mindfulness or feeling tone. It's a second foundation of mindfulness in the Satipatthana Sutta, the 4 bases of mindfulness. And why he talks a lot about feeling tone is because he says we have strong underlying tendencies in terms of feeling tone. That if we feel something pleasant, we want it to continue. If we feel something unpleasant, we want it to disappear immediately. If we feel something neither, the Buddha said, well, if you understand neither pleasant nor unpleasant, then it could become a little pleasant, but if you don't understand it, you will find it boring, and then it becomes very unpleasant. And in a way, what we're trying to do is not to change the tonality, because we're not trying to stop tonality, because it's just kind of like a survival mechanism. So it's a capacity we have. But in a way, what is important is to know what is it I am feeling. Because I could have 6 different tonality through the different senses, or one major one. One is really pleasant, everything goes together with it. One is unpleasant, everything goes together with it. And so, in a way, what I'm suggesting here is to see that tonality is conditioned, which means that often we think the tonality is in the object, the sound of the bird. It's beautiful. It's beautiful for me. That's the way I interpret it. That's the way I perceive it. So over time, biology, society, culture, we learn to like things or not through experience. And to me, one of the interesting tests of tonality is colors. Red, blue, white, black, green. Colors have not done anything to you as far as I know. Red has not attacked you. Blue has not done wonderful things to you. Yellow is not coming to take something from you. Or green is not kind of saying, oh, I love you, I love you. Color, they don't do anything. But we see a color and immediately I like it or I don't. Or it's neutral, like cream. You see cream, doesn't bother me. Unless you think cream is too neither, and then it becomes unpleasant. So in a way, what the Buddha is saying is that we are in contact constantly. So it's not just an inner thing, it's the fact that we're in contact constantly with the world, and we are impacted with the world. And to me, what is very interesting is to notice what is it I'm feeling, but the change of it. So I'm not saying you need to be aware of the 6 tonalities through the 6 senses all the time to the same degree. Not. It's impossible, especially as they change a lot. But is to become aware. To me, what is interesting in terms of mindfulness of the feeling tone is a change. And that's why I kind of to see it more like a signal. So let's say things are going fine, you have had a good day, you woke up, you had your tea or coffee or whatever it is, water, maybe a little run, some exercise. And then you see something, oh no. And then you feel despondent. It's unpleasant. But then what is that unpleasant tonality? How are you going to react to it? Are you going to creatively engage with it? See, oh, I am feeling this because I saw that or heard that, and it's connected to that. Or you are feeling, I'm feeling terrible, everything is terrible. And because you feel unpleasant, maybe an hour later, you'll talk to somebody in a nasty way who has not done anything to you. This is, I think, what is so important. The Buddha says, can you see the tonality more at the beginning instead of at the end? Because the end often is that we have a tonality, especially unpleasant, then we have a feeling, then we have an emotion, and then we have what I would call a disturbing emotion. But by then it's so amplified that it's very hard not to go into our regular patterning, automatic reaction with the unpleasant tonality. So what the Buddha is saying is when we meditate, when can we kind of, in a way, in like more like a laboratory situation, can we, in a way, sit and through just sitting or lying or standing or whatever it is you do, can I become more aware of that aspect of my experience so that then when I am in daily life, I become more aware more quickly of how I feel. And what is beautiful about the mindfulness of feeling tone is that it's going to expand the range. Because let's say you have 1 to 10 pleasant, -1 to -10 unpleasant, and then you have the baseline, the nicer in the middle. And generally, it takes us +5 pleasant to realize, oh, this is nice. This is so pleasant. This is wonderful. I want it to last forever. That's a little problem with that. But between +1 to +5, we think it's normal, that it should be so. When with the mindfulness of the feeling tone, we can see, oh yeah, it's +1. This is nice, pleasantly calm, pleasantly peaceful, +2, +3, +4. And then we have kind of, it becomes kind of, we widen the range of experience. Same with the unpleasant. When we have -1 unpleasant, quickly we make it -5, unpleasant -10. We have a tendency to amplify unpleasant. And instead to see, oh, -1, unpleasant. Maybe I can just wait for it to pass. -4, unpleasant. I know this. I know this unpleasant tonality. I have had it before. In which condition do I experience this again and again? So instead of being stuck on the unpleasant -4, understanding the condition why it repeats itself. And then -10, it's intensely painful. I need to do something immediately. I need to go to the doctor. I need to talk to a friend. I need to get out of the situation, whatever it is. So in a way, according to the level, there will be a different creative engagement. So in a way, mindfulness or feeling tone is in a way recognizing how we are impacted by the world, but also how do we impact others, the way we speak to others. How is it impacting their tonality? And I find that interesting. Often we speak faster than we think, and then you might regret it. And then where is it coming from? Talking fast, saying something unpleasant or a little maybe not appropriate. And often it comes from some slight unpleasant tonality, maybe some stress, maybe some agitation. So in a way, if we know more about that, then actually maybe oh, wait a minute, this is unpleasant. How can I be with this? How can I not amplify it? And how can I be careful with my speech? So this is kind of briefly talking about tonality. And what I want to do in the meditation, so that you kind of get a better idea about what I am suggesting. So what I'm going to do is use the body and the sounds in order to become mindful of feeling tone, because that's what we do in meditation. We don't try to be aware of all feeling tones through all the senses. This is not the point. We try to simplify. So just being aware of sensation in the body, just being aware of sound we hear. And then I will lead you, guide you through the meditation, especially in terms of change, and especially in terms of echoing. Because to me, what is interesting is you have a contact, there is a feeling tone. If the contact goes, does a feeling tone goes with it or not? So again, following from last week, talking about focusing and inquiry. And I think this practice of mindfulness of the feeling tone is very much, in a way, cultivating together that focusing, that anchoring, but also that experiential inquiry of change in our experience. So shall we do it? So if you find a comfortable posture, so again, you have the four posture of sitting on the chair, on the floor, whatever works for you. You might need to lie down, you might prefer to stand up, and you might also, for whatever reason, if you need to, you can also do slow walking meditation where you are, whatever suits you. So you find, let's say if you are sitting, you really try to find first a posture. So the back is relatively upright, but also relaxed if you can. The eyes might be closed or half closed, gazing gently in front of one. And when you sit in meditation, you try to be as grounded as a mountain, but also as wide, as open as the ocean. So settling into the posture, settling into the moment. And then first you could be aware of the body, but just in terms of contact, the neutral contact. So maybe to experience neither pleasant nor unpleasant tonality. So maybe the hands on each other on the thigh, maybe the clothes on the body, maybe the hair on the face, maybe the buttocks on the chair or the cushion. So just bringing a caring and careful attention to this point of contact, or the feet on the ground. The feet touching the ground, the buttocks on the chair, the clothes on the body, the air on the face. How does it feel? Pleasant? Unpleasant? Or neither? Now going to a specific sensation in the body. Maybe the knee, maybe the back, maybe the shoulders, maybe the stomach. So one moment the sensation is not there. And then suddenly a new sensation. Just paying attention to that with a caring and careful mindfulness. When a sensation appears, how does it feel? When it disappears, does the tonality goes with it? Now maybe noticing if there is a sensation which is more continuous, which lasts for a little while. When this sensation appears, how does it feel? As the sensation continues, does the tonality remain the same? Or does it change? Now opening ourselves to sound, listening to the sound of the world, being mindful of the music of life. When you hear a sound, what's the tonality of that content, of that experience? When the sound goes, does the tonality goes with it? If there is a sound which continues, what's the tonality upon first contact? As the sound continues, does the tonality remain the same or does it change? If around you is relatively silent, how does it feel silent? What's the tonality of hearing silence? Now being aware of the breath, just feeling the air coming in, coming out. What's the tonality of that contact, of that experience? What is the tonality of being mindful in a caring and careful way? What's the tonality of mindfulness itself? Resting in the breath, resting in the body, listening to the music of life with peace, calm, and creativity. Can we be present to this moment like it is the last moment, where it's important to be kind, peaceful, clear, creative? So thank you for your meditation. And if we could remove the spotlight so I can see everybody, thank you. And so now we first have a question from Kim Schlossman. And then if people want to do the yellow or blue hand, whatever color your hand is, then you can do it through the raise a hand. So Kim question regarding tone, and then everything goes with it. Does that mean our attention tend to go to things that match the tone we are currently experiencing? Yes, the thing is, generally, our attention will more likely go to unpleasant than pleasant. Not everybody is like this, but it's kind of slightly proven. We have a more be aware faster of unpleasant than pleasant. But also we have a strong association with unpleasant. Like pleasant we can see as being pleasant in the moment, separate from other pleasant moments. But unpleasant, generally we associate past unpleasant with it, which then makes it even more unpleasant. So this is something we have to be careful about. What is it we pay more attention to? What is it we more aware of? And then the question is, how can we creatively engage with it? That it be pleasant, unpleasant, or neither. Oh, Olivia, thank you. Are thought also creator or tonality? Yes, very important point, because I did not have so much time, so I did not go into that. But in terms of Buddhist psychology, you have the 5 physical senses, and then you also have the mind. And so then it's very interesting in terms of meditation. And we did not have the time during this meditation, I did not think of it, of looking at thought. One moment you don't have a thought, next moment you have a thought, and then is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neither? And I mean, what is very interesting is when you sit in meditation, I used to daydream, and it came from if I was. And it was such a pleasant tonality, then I was even daydreaming of being awakened instead of meditating. So, and if it's unpleasant, then it's going to kind of, again, amplify, or it's neither. Or sometimes you have a word or you have an image in your mind. And again, this is very creators of tonality, of course. Tonality is with all the senses. Okay, those being curious about your experience have a tonality. Sure. You see, like if you become interested in the tonality, then you can see so much more of what's going on. And then it changes the tonality. This is the thing. With tonality, you actually have, it's kind of what's called the 5 omnipresent mental factor. You have contact, then you have tonality, you have perception, attention, and attention, and they all come together. And so in a way, perception is very much in of that. How can you change from an assumption mindset to more of a curious mindset? This is what do we do with the mind? You know, often we are generalizing machine. And it's very important to generalize because we have category and then we can be in the world. But meditation helps us to see when is it useful to generalize and when is it not. I am not the same all the time. People are not the same all the time. So in a way, it's kind of like, what's going on here? What am I feeling? And we can't, of course, be like this all the time. But time to time, it's interesting. That's why I'm saying, become curious of change. Because actually, I won't go into it, but tonality is one of the big creator of bias. That a lot of bias, especially society, cultural bias, come from that. What exactly is tonality? Personally, I think it's a useful concept. And I'm not sure it can be scientifically proven, but it's basically upon contact through the senses, it feels pleasant, unpleasant, or neither. That's, I think, the easiest way to say it. So it's kind of like feeling tone, T-O-N-E, not feeling tune, feeling tone. I have a bad French accent. And it's kind of the tonality of experience upon contact. Basically, I like this, I don't like this, it leaves me indifferent. Okay, Ute. There was Ute raised her hand and disappeared. Can Ute come back? Well, I'll go back to the chat and then we'll see if Ute come back. Ah, okay. Okay. Sometimes if we avoid labeling a sensation as good or bad, our relationship to it change. If we say to ourselves, it just is, we might be able to relax and soften around the sensation. In a way, the way personally I look at mindfulness of feeling tone is not actually to label. Personally, I don't think labeling is so useful. You can do it if that's the way you've been taught, but that's not my point. My point is not to label pleasant, unpleasant, +5, -1. Personally, I don't see the point of that. But what I find interesting is to go inside the experience. And how does it feel? And so it joined a little like kind of what is going on right now? How does it feel? And how does it seem to impel me, to move me? Because you see, you have the contact, perception, tonality, but then you also have intention, attention. What do you pay attention to? And how does that move you to act? So my idea is more, can I be more present to my experience and not to the commenting of the experience, but how does it feel and how does it seem to incline me? And that's why I think the Buddha had a point in terms of pleasant, unpleasant, and the underlying tendency, how immediately, let's do this again. I will never go to this shop again or whatever it is. Kind of, it's interesting how we fix things. And that's why I think it's important to be more aware of it. But of course, you can say it just is, and that can also be helpful. My tonality changed with the language I use. Sticky, warm, hot, were all different. Exactly. One of the interesting things is when you, with the mindfulness, notice the languaging. What is the languaging in my mind? Is it a kind languaging? Is it a pleasant languaging? Is it an unpleasant languaging? Is it a tough languaging? So it's also interesting to explore, and also how certain words really kind of can be very kind of have certain tonality within us. Okay, I notice when I meditate that sounds from nature are pleasant, but the exact same sort of sound from a machine outside is unpleasant. Aren't I creating tonality? Perception. You see, we seem to have a very automatic reaction to birds. Tweet, 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 tweet. We seem to have a relatively automatic reaction to engine. But actually, it's perception which changed a lot of this. I used to have a friend, a composer, and he did not like the pigeon outside because the tone, the musical tone was not right. He could not compose because of the cooing of the pigeon. Me, the cooing of the pigeon doesn't do anything to me. So in a way, it's kind of like, and when I used to teach seniors to meditate, and then in summer you open the window and then we heard the people kind of doing things to the roundabout. It was fairly noisy. And so they said, oh, it's unpleasant. And I said, but won't the roundabout be much better to drive through once they finished? And they said, oh, right, so it's pleasant. So you have the same sound. How do you perceive it? So this is kind of, you can play with it a lot. Is it a useful practice to deliberately return to something that is very painful and has the power to amplify all negative tone and take me into the depths of regret and lead to questioning decision, and to use the revisiting this as a meditation exercise? So I don't have totally the time to go into the Vitakka Santana Sutta, which is a short text. But one of the things the Buddha says in that text, dealing with difficult thought, is if the thought is too difficult, turn away from it. So in a way, moving from something which is unpleasant to something which might be lighter, but pleasant for a short while. So in a way, I think, to me, it seems that when it's unpleasant and it's intense, we don't need to be more aware of it because we're already so aware of it. So yes, it's unpleasant. Okay. But I am not just that. I am not just that one condition which is unpleasant, that it be an illness, that it be an event, whatever it is. I am not just that. Yes, there is an illness, there is an event, but I cannot reduce my life to that. My life is wider than that. And I think that's why the playing with tonality can be interesting. And that's why what I want to bring next week is actually mindfulness of feeling tone connected to the four quality of loving kindness, compassion, rejoicing, and equanimity, because I think they're very connected. Because in the text, the Buddha says, you can have tonality which are ordinary and which lead to grasping, the underlying tendency. But you can have tonality in which you have insight. And then if you have insight in the tonality, then you're not going to grasp at it. You're going to creatively engage with it. And so that's what I want to look at next week. Okay, Olivia, I would think that while it's important to inquire, sometimes the tonality is telling us the truth about a situation. No. I am not saying that something which is unpleasant is not unpleasant, not at all. What is unpleasant is unpleasant, what is pleasant is pleasant, what is neither is neither. Of course, it can change. But what I'm saying is that we are aware of unpleasant. And in a way, I would say there are three ways to creatively engage. If it's light, we know it, and we wait for it to pass. If it's repeated, we try to understand the condition for the unpleasantness, that it be inside or outside. Generally, it's a combination of both. It's not just about us, it's also about our impact from the world. And if it's intense, we need to do something about it. This is painful, this is harmful to myself, to others. How can I stop it? How can I deal with this? So I think this is really important to see. We're not trying to make all the tonality neither, not at all. Enjoy the pleasant, creatively engage from the unpleasant, and try to, how can I be with this? But no, it's very important. Yvette, you can unmute. Can you unmute?
It's okay.
So you wanted to say something? No. Okay, all right. So, Okay, Olivia, I would think that while it's important to inquire, sometimes that we've done, how to deal with people who insist in a negative tonality. I mean, they might have good reason to experience an unpleasant tonality. I mean, there are many different conditions. You know, they could be depressed, they could have a difficult situation in their life, whatever. After the question is, how long can you be with this negativity, this unpleasantness? I mean, once somebody asked me, my sister phoned me from Germany, the lady was in England, once a month, and for an hour she speaks, and it's all negative, and I feel terrible afterward. And I said to her, well, she lives with herself 24/7. You only have her 1 hour every month. So in a way, the point here, can you be for the sister 1 hour, but after the hour, can you let it be? Can you let it be? This is what is so difficult. Can we let it be? Because now the person is not there. Now we have Wanda, and unfortunately we'll have to stop soon. So Wanda, unmute.
Okay, thank you so much for the practice. It was an interesting one for me because I have tinnitus, which is a constant ringing in my ears, and I've had it for a few years. So the practice today was actually sort of refining my awareness, careful and sort of lovingly, I think was your instruction. And it really made a difference to the Vedana, which was not unpleasant or pleasant, but well, actually I guess the equanimity of it made it rather had a pleasant flavor to it. So, that's a great practice and help for me because it's very easy to start a story going about it and so on. So thank you.
Thank you. Because you see, this is what I said toward the end. I said, what's the tonality of the awareness? And to me, I think awareness has this healing quality of this pleasant tonality without grasping. I'm not saying we can have it there all the time, but some of the time we can, in a way, play with this in that way. And we have 2 minutes, and I will just do one more question. I have to go. I think I can't go through everything. But this one, I like the prompt. What happens to the tonality after the sound ends? A slightly irritating sound from the neighbor, a 1-3 unpleasant tone ended. It was like a bell ringing. The tonality of the feeling remained after the sound disappeared and remained like the sound of a bell dissipating. That's what I'm saying. Be aware. The thing is finished, but for some reason, we might still feel it. And how do we creatively engage with that? I'm not saying you stop that. I'm saying, how do we creatively engage with that? That actually the present has stopped. The sound of the bell has stopped, but then there is still an echo. I found that so interesting. And I'm sorry, but I have to stop here. I need to go and pick up my husband from the station. And thank you so much. It was so nice to be here with you. And so next week, we're going to do mindfulness of feeling tone with the Brahma Vihara. And then the week after, I will do the questioning, what is this in the Son tradition? So I don't know if you have to say something.
Yes, I'm just gonna thank everyone again for joining. I'm putting a few notes in the chat for following up with us and joining us next week on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and also some links for checking out Tricycle's online courses, including Martine Batchelor's courses. So thank you again so much, Martine. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Keep well. Keep well. Take care of yourself and take care of others.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.